Good afternoon, good evening, good metal. My name's Coop, and welcome to a very special edition of the Spoken Metal Show, where we're gonna go through sort of kind of what we've been doing as our metal on Merseyside, and then some two very exciting events that we've got coming up that we want to kind of go through and explain kind of why we're doing them and what they are and how they're important to our scene. So I'm joined by my cohort and friend in the Metal on Merseyside project, Mr. Nadeem Hassan. How are we doing, sir?
Good, thank you.
And wonderfully, we're joined all the way from Malaysia with someone you may recognise previously had on the show when we had Blackfire on the show and the subsequent tour that followed there. Zach, it's nice to have you back on the show again.
Hi, Mark. Hello, Liverpool. Nice to meet you again.
So yeah, so a lot of people have been asking kind of what we're doing at the Metal on Merseyside project, particularly after Blackfire and kind of when they came over. We had a lot of interest about what the next thing was that we were going to do, and that is going to be happening on Friday, the 3rd of October. Liverpool John Moores University is a symposium. What's a symposium, you may ask? Well, that's a very fancy and intelligent word of saying a group of people are going to get together and talk about some stuff that really matters to us. And those people are going to be talking about metal, they're going to be talking about our scene, and scenes are based in other countries as well. Fantastic stuff there, Ned. I mean, this is quite an event, right?
Yeah, it is. And really, it all came about because of Zak's in many respects. Zak's, we knew from earlier in the year when he brought Blackfire over, and we got wind of the fact that the KL Metal Mayhem Festival, which we'll talk about in a moment, was coming to Liverpool. And it's an exclusive for Liverpool only, which was even more exciting. And we thought, what can we do to celebrate this fact, to commemorate this fact? And I thought it'd be ideal to have some sort of academic/industry event that complemented what Zak's and the Black Label production team were doing. So that was the initial inspiration for it.
And then when you kind of rang the bell to kind of say, we're doing this event, there was an enormous amount of people from within the academic community that kind of showed up, yeah?
Well, there was. I mean, I think initially it was about kind of giving it some sort of theme. So we went with the theme of crossing borders because I think you've got two dimensions to that. On the one hand, you've got the idea that here's a promoter from Malaysia coming across to Liverpool to put on a festival event. And we'd already seen how, much of a successful response there was to Blackfire, this legendary extreme metal band from Southeast Asia, how much of a positive response of them coming over to Liverpool there was. And on the other hand, I just like this idea of thinking from an intellectual point of view on, okay, what happens when these borders are crossed, and you can play around with that idea, and you can think about the fact that extreme metal itself over the years has involved this idea of transgression, that it breaks boundaries, so that was the initial thinking around that. So the papers that people are going to see, the presentations that people are going to see in different ways all play with this idea of, okay, well, what do we mean by extremity? What different boundaries are crossed within metal? But there's a fascinating array of papers. When I say papers, I mean presentations, for people who aren't academics, that we'll see at this one-day event. And the thing we should also point out is this is a free event. So it's going to be at John Moores University. It's free. It's ticketed. If you want to come along, all you do is follow the link that we'll provide online for you, and then you can book your free ticket. It's a full day event. So registration is going to start at 9 in the morning. We're going to get started at 9:30. and with a lunch break in between and a few comfort breaks in between, we're going to go right the way through till 5:30. So it's a full packed day of a range of presentations. Zak's and his team are going to be presenting there amongst a range of other academics.
This is, ladies and gentlemen, this is something that, not often do you get to kind of, if you're not based in academia and in universities, you get to hear some of these presentations and see and talk to some of these people. And that's kind of one of the things that the Metal on Merseyside project was kind of used this as a springboard to do, is to kind of go, look, this is a free event that you can come to and you can listen to speakers talk about fascinating elements of our scene that are both relevant locally, but in a whole global sense, incredibly relevant and interesting already. And we'll talk about some of the speakers in a moment, but already just knowing some of the people that were going to speak there, I went and found their books and found their bits and pieces. And this is a chance for us to talk to someone from, another country about their scene and what the challenges they're facing. And it's open to all, ladies and gentlemen. This is something that you don't have to be going to university to. You don't have to be a lecturer. You can just come and enjoy this. And I found the last one was incredibly successful. I thought I met a lot of friends and found out a lot more bands from this as well, and different scenes that I would never have thought about deep diving in. So in that respect, it's an invaluable thing, isn't it, Ned?
It is. I think anyone coming to this is going to learn something. It might even challenge some of your preconceptions. I think often within metal music, we tend to have this sort of sometimes cozy idea about, oh, it is everyone's, great and it's all about community and so on. Well, some of the presentations you might see, will actually make you think about some of the problems, with with the scene as well. So I think it'll challenge your ways of thinking about metal. But as well, it'll be a great opportunity to network with people, to see the sorts of work that people are doing, the sorts of research that people are doing, to meet people from within the local scene, from within the broader national scene, from within international scenes, some of whom actually have lots in common. So I think it's a fantastic opportunity. And I should pay tribute actually to the Liverpool Centre for Cultural, Social and Political Research, who at pretty short notice, it must be said, bought into what I was proposing to them and have kindly agreed to fund this event. So these events that we put on at Liverpool John Moores, the money for them has got to come from somewhere. We've got guest speakers coming. We've got a special keynote speaker coming who's flying across from Finland. We've got people who need feeding. We've got rooms that need booking. We've got other sort of promotion costs, and some of those costs have been met by the Liverpool Centre. So I'm very grateful to them for supporting me with developing this proposal for this event, and for supporting us in Metal on Merseyside, to bring this kind of event to our scene. I think this, and we should also say that this is the start, I think, of this relationship. Watch this space, because I think in the future, and Zak's may well talk about this at the actual event. There will be other opportunities for these kinds of cross-cultural collaborations, because I think they are so interesting and important more broadly for our scene, to learn from other people from other countries, from other scenes, what they're doing, how they're sustaining their metal scenes, how they're growing their metal scenes. All of that, I think, is really valuable.
Yeah, I think that the talking to people in your scene who are from other countries and other scenes, but under the metal umbrella, gives you great perspective about what we have going on in our own scene and how we can make things better. You know, and I think that these events, ladies and gentlemen, are not so much normally closed doors, but not really open to the general public. That is not the case with this event. This event is free. You just have to register. I'll put links to the usual places so you can register, and you can come along and see kind of the work that is going on. Ned's been working very diligently with John Moores to make this happen, and it came together, like you say, because I think one, there was an enormous amount of interest, but two, people saw that it was valuable. From outside the scene, saw that this was valuable, that this has social implications, and it's nice that I want to bring Zak in here. It's nice that we can have a society and a scene and a community in Merseyside that welcomes other musicians and artists from other countries. Your experience then, Zak, coming to Liverpool was incredibly positive then, yeah?
Yes, yes, Mark. You know, after we met on April last time, when we brought Blackfire to the Liverpool, to the UK. So after the tour, we back to Kuala Lumpur, and we sit down and we just thinking. UK is the home base where the metal music has been founded, and for our opinions in our mind that time, so we need to do something for Liverpool. This is cross in our mind. So beside that, we also organizing in annual event. It's called KL Metal Mayhem, which is based in Kuala Lumpur, usually on May. So me and our partners thinks that we should promoting this event in the Liverpool, and why not we collaborate or with the metal on Merseyside and the spoken metal show, and they say yes, and then I asking Ned, and he agreed. So we are very honored to be there again on 3rd October, which is the program at the Liverpool John Small University, and the KL Metal Mayhem UK edition on the Saturday of 4th of October. So this is the first edition and of the KL Metal Mayhem UK edition. So this time we bring Omega Throne as headliner, Akea, Manchester-based Napadelak, and the Mechanist, and also not forget Steel Forge. So for us, this is time to introduce. I mean, we need to tell the story about Malaysian, where the Malaysian extreme metal start or extreme music start, and we back to the roots. I mean, in the UK. So we also, as we are based in Malaysia, but we still considered as a global promoter because we been booked again next year to the UK. So that one will be announced end of the year, because now in the still planning, and we hope this KL Metal Mayhem will be continuously next year, and Liverpool still as a hub for our program. So next year, even better, we plan to bring a Malaysia band to perform along with your local acts. So this is what we try to work out. But for this edition, we're glad that all the band, the university, your side, and all the Liverpool scene is very supportive. So we can do this together.
It's wonderful that you being based in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia can hear music from the UK, and that inspires you to make your own music yourselves, and then to finally full circle come back to the UK is such a wonderful. I experienced that at the shows that we did in Liverpool, and it was a wonderful moment where I quite often I myself wander around our first city, we forget how important some of the things are, and some of the things we kind of see every day. So I see the Liver building every day, and but for you guys, you've never seen that, and it was a amazing thing for you to kind of see the wonderful thing. We forget how wonderful our own cities can be sometimes until someone comes in and tells us how fantastic it was. And Liverpool's got a wonderful, rich history of welcoming people from all parts of the world. So yeah, as Zach talked about there, the next day after the symposium, that's Saturday the 4th of October, there is an event at EBGB's. This is the KL Metal edition, where they've kind of grouped together some of the best local talent that we have for you to enjoy, and it's a wonderful bill, as Zach was saying. Omega Throne, who previously were runners up in the Metal to the Masses, a fantastic band. Archaea also played Metal to the Masses, are a wonderful band they are. Napier Dalek, and they played at the last one. They absolutely blew me away. They were a fantastic extreme band, fantastic. And then the Machinist, who I've yet to see, I've heard wonderful things about, and Steel Forge, who also helped out with the tour as well and played on the last one. That's a real. I'm very grateful that you chose to pick, some of the great local talent that we have, and it's wonderful that when we just stop for a second, gents, and say this is a Malaysian promoter coming over to our country, picking the bands and the local bands to be on and putting on a show. I think that's a wonderful hands across the ocean, if you will, and kind of wonderful link between your city and your country and ours, and what a great way of showing what crossing borders really does mean, and how metal does do that. This event will be an event that you'll have to buy a ticket for, but for the fact that there's 5 of possibly the best metal that we have on our scene, I think that's going to be a great event. And what's more is that the people that will be speaking at the Crossing Borders Symposium will also be there. So you'll get a chance to meet someone from another country with another point of view, with a whole list of bands you've never heard of that you're going to want to check out as well. And that's a wonderful way of everybody coming together. Ned, can you mention some of the speakers that will be speaking at the symposium?
Yeah. Well, we've got a special keynote speaker in Susana Gonzalez Martinez, who has recently written a book called Feminist Metal Music Studies. So Susana is coming over from Helsinki, and she will speak to some of the themes in her book, which has very recently come out. So that's, I think, going to be fascinating. And she's a very engaging speaker as well. And a really interesting researcher, in that a lot of her research involves working with women and thinking about women's experiences within particular global metal scenes. And I'm not talking about kind of European, I'm talking about more kind of South American metal scenes and so on. So that should be fascinating. We've got a range of UK-based speakers. Some of them are PhD students who are very close to kind of finishing their PhDs. They're doing research into all kinds of things. So the first panel that we'll see, the first panel of speakers, the theme is around gender and politics. So there's Melissa Straker from Huddersfield University, is doing research into extreme metal feminists online. So that should be fascinating. Holly Royal from University of Chester is doing work around, or for the presentation that she's giving us, she's doing work around the body and the exploration of abortion and infant mortality. So that should be fascinating in relation to metal music. You know, we know obviously about certain extreme metal bands like to use that kind of imagery.
Mm.
We've got a lady coming over from she's based in Estonia, but she's actually Ukrainian. She's going to be talking about her journey as a researcher, becoming an insider in Estonian and Finnish extreme metal music scenes. So that'll be fascinating again. Um, we've got a composer called Berk Yarla, who's actually Cypriot. And he's going to be talking about hybridity, musical hybridity, and his research on that, his compositions on that. David Burke, who is based at Bath University. He's very close to completing his PhD. He's going to be talking about the response to Ozzy Osbourne's death and the way Ozzy Osbourne was kind of talked about in the media and so on. So that should be fascinating. I'll say a little bit about some of my research at the event, which is on the idea of shock and extremity in relation to the band Wasp. Then we've got authors who are writing and researching into Hellfest, which we know is the biggest, or one of the biggest metal music festivals in the world. And Claire McGee is from University of East Anglia. She's going to be talking about death metal in Botswana. So there's a real diversity to a lot of these presentations. And of course, you've got Zak's and his team from Black Label Production who are going to be talking about the Malaysian metal music scene, the origins of it, how it's changed, and its links with tourism now as well, which I think is fascinating. So there is a great deal happening on the 3rd. It's going to be a full-on day. I'm hoping that we'll have not a merchandise stand as such, but a book stand. So basically, Intellect Books hopefully will be sending us some materials. So, you know, if you're interested in some of this and want to read more, there'll be discounts on books you can buy there, and so on. So I think it's going to be actually, although the festival, as far as the gig goes, takes place on the Saturday, in some respects, strangely enough, I think the Friday will also have a bit of a festive feel to it, in as much as it's a celebration of the sheer diversity of interest that there is in metal music as a subject area.
I think celebration's probably the ideal way to envision this. I think it's you know the like essentially it's the weekend, it's the Friday and the Saturday. We've managed to cram in an enormous amount in there. You know, Zak's work with bands are putting together an incredible bill for Saturday. Yourself, Ned, we're putting together one of if we have like we talk about metal bills, this is one of the most interesting and exciting metal bills I think a university will put on. We don't normally have this, and moreover, ladies and gentlemen, you don't normally even see this. This is very unique, and hopefully something that we'd like to replicate. I mean, Zak, you talked about coming and doing the stuff next year, which will be incredibly interesting to kind of be involved in. And eventually, I suppose the goal is to send some artists and people to Malaysia as well, and kind of see one of the things that I got talking to the members of Blackfire was that we have similar issues trying to sell tickets for shows and finding gigs, and we have similar things. There's a lot which connects us, isn't there, Zak?
Yes. This is also the opportunity that like a UK can participating event of festival in Malaysia. So we during I mean with this relationship, so we can help, we assist, and we can coordinate the right pleased to them to play in Malaysia. We're going to sharing also what happening in Malaysia, how many metal event in Malaysia annually. So from that, we can plan something for the UK and all even Liverpool band, local band, if they're interested to play in Malaysia. It's very interesting. Yeah.
I think it's this, like what they would say, it's the start of a beautiful relationship. It's something that I'm certainly looking forward to, and you can, ladies and gentlemen, you can witness this kind of blooming of a wonderful start. First on the Friday, the 3rd of October. That starts at 9:30. Registration will be at 9 till 5. You must register for your tickets. That's free to do so as well, and you will be able to witness some fantastic speakers from a whole range of elements of the metal community, and really get something from it. I think it's going to be incredibly valuable. And then potentially that evening we may do something of a surprise in terms of a social event as well. But then the next day, that's the Saturday the 4th at EBGB's, that's a ticketed event you will need to buy a ticket for, but that has got some of the cream of what our scene has to offer. Omega Throne, Archaea, Napier Dalek, the Machinist and Steel Forge, all playing for your enjoyment at EBGB's, which will be a good chance. If you've never met Zak, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, he will be there, and you'll be able to tell him, thank him for picking our city, and have a conversation about what's Malaysian metal about. Give me some Malaysian metal bands to check out. Wonderful stuff, gents. I'm really looking forward to this weekend. The Friday and Saturday looks absolutely stacked. I think I can say without certainty that it's something that's going to carry on and be possibly an annual event as well. Gents, thanks again for coming on the show. Really appreciate it, and I will see you both at the weekend on the 3rd and the 4th of October.
Okay, thank you, Mark.
Thanks.
Still matter.